Good morning. How are you? Good. That wasn't very good, actually. Let's do it again. How are you? Good. Much better. That was a great night last night, wasn't it? Who went on the Toy Story ride? How many of you got 387,000 points? Could you believe that? I thought I did really well. I got about 76,000 points, and I thought, hey, I'm really a star at this. And then I went through that 387,000 points. God. How many of you think that having a great product is really important today? Most of you. How many of you think that it's really important to have a really competitive price? Most of you. What about satisfied customers? Who thinks satisfied customer is important? All of you. Well, the reality is that in today's marketplace, none of those things are important. None of them. And let me just tell you why. Who'd agree that it's bloody hard to make a buck out there right now? Who'd agree with that? All of you. It is. It's tough. And so we've been brought up to think that product, price and satisfied customers are really important. And so that colours the way we think about things. And I just want to go through these one at a time for you and tell you why they're not. Product. Are you selling anything that I can't buy somewhere else? Are you? So I can go somewhere else and buy it. So why the hell are people going to go to you instead of going to somewhere else if it's just for the product? They're not, are they? You know, 92% of people think that a product's the same whether you buy it at one place or you buy it at another. If I buy a burger here, it's about the same as a burger I buy over here. So product is not going to drive your business on its own. You have to have the good products, but it's not going to drive them on its own. So let's look at price. We're all brought up to think that price is really important. So let me just ask you a question. I think I pushed the wrong one. Only 13% of people buy based on price. 87% of people don't. So let me illustrate this. How many of you are driving a smart car or a Kia? Hands up if you're driving a smart car or a Kia. Nobody. Are they? Now, if it's all about price, I gave a speech in Detroit to the motor manufacturers and they said, you know, cars, it's all about price. Well, if it was all about price, everybody would be driving bloody cheap cars, wouldn't they? But they're not. You go outside and you see BMWs and Mercedes and Audis, all sorts of stuff. So people aren't buying those cars because of price. I spoke to the apparel manufacturers and the apparel manufacturers say, you know, today, clothing, it's all about price. If we put up our prices, people go somewhere else. Really? How many of you are wearing the cheapest clothes you could buy? How many? The same people that are driving the Kias. Exactly the same people. So people aren't buying products because of price. If you go to the grocery store, you don't walk out with a trolley full of those generic things, do you? The ones in the black and white packets. You buy Kraft and Kellogg's and all the brands. So price isn't important. So that brings us to satisfied customers. People think satisfied customers are really important. Well, 62% of all satisfied customers never go back to the place where they bought from. Why is that? Why do you think that would be? Because when I buy something, I'm entitled to be satisfied, aren't I? Why should I go back and buy from you again just because you give me something that I'm already entitled to? Why would I do that? I wouldn't. Today, if you want people to come back and back and back, satisfying customers isn't enough. You have to knock their socks off. They've got to walk out of your AM/PM and say, that was great. It was friendly. The environment was terrific. The merchandising was great. Everybody was friendly. And I had what I wanted. It was fresh. the place smelt great. You've got to go way beyond satisfying customers, or you won't be successful today. So, how many of you can honestly say that in the last, let's take 2 weeks, you've bought something somewhere and had a really fantastic experience? You've walked out and said, wow, that was terrific. I can't wait to come back here and I'll do all my shopping here. How many of you? About 3. You've got 1,000 people in the room or whatever there is, and 3 of you have had a good customer service experience. Now, I bet all the people that were serving those people thought they were giving you great service. You went and spoke to them, they'd say, yeah, we give really good service. Well, it obviously wasn't good enough because it hasn't made an impact on any of you. So let me ask you another question. How many of you could honestly say that in the last couple of weeks you've given one of your customers really fantastic service? So they'd walk out of there and say, I'm going to buy my gas from here from now on, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to buy the products that I want. How many of you can honestly say you've knocked their socks off? That's about 20 of you out of a room of 1,000. That's pathetic, isn't it? Isn't it? You sit there and you say, God, business is tough, but what are you doing to get people to come back and back and back and back over and over again? And if you're not doing something special, they won't come back.